Okay, I'm just going to be taking some pictures of all these models. Just back up a little. You know, sometimes we have to be a little innovative with how we elect to display our models because, quite frankly, we all know it's very easy to run out of shelf space in a hurry. And there are just a lot of different ways that you can display models. Obviously, the tried and true hanging them from the ceiling, and of course putting them on the shelf. But sometimes you can get a stand that you can hang from the wall so you can get the model to, you know, sort of pop out to life a little bit, or just hang the model on the wall directly. And I suppose you're only limited by your own imagination, but I was just thinking the other day about where I'm going to put a lot of the kits I plan to build. I barely have room for the ones I have now. Of course, high shelves, the kits need to be up by the edge. As you get lower on the shelf, you know, you can put them anywhere you want because you can see them. The whole idea of having the model built is to be able to see it when you're done. Of course, there are a lot of improvised shelves also, but this kind of stuff without proper support tends to sag over time. It didn't help that I put some of the heavier wooden models on it. But right now, I'm pretty much sticking stuff wherever I have space. You guys, this SBD, although it hangs on the wall, it's actually hanging by wires. And had the Zero up there. I had a screw going through the center of it, but it slipped and hit the ground. And fortunately, that was not a kit. It busted up. That was one of those pre-made, Universal Soldiers or whatever. You know, obviously some things like tanks and cars don't really need that much shelf space, relatively small footprint. But we all know when you deal with airplanes, you've got that wingspan to contend with. And let me show you something I do sometimes. Of course, sometimes you can compress a little space by alternating your high wing and low wing aircraft. Thus the old joke about what is a Piper? It's a plane that you can park anywhere on a ramp full of Cessnas. Then, of course, if you have navalized aircraft, folding the wings is always an option. But coming up with shelf space and where to put things is an ongoing battle. Of course, we all get stuck with the problem of clutter. You try to put a theme to it, like put all the British aircraft together, and you're like, yeah, there's just not enough room, but I can spread them out. But then the same thing happens with all the other aircraft. You wind up, partly because wings and tails never seem to line up quite right, that you feel like you're wasting space. There's a natural tendency to put the helicopter, if it's a two-bladed rotor, at the back of the display because you know you can back it up against the wall. And that really doesn't eat up much space, at least not much usable space. But, you know, there's no real theme to it at this point, except that both these vehicles are red. Here's another attempt at a theme. All the U.S. naval aircraft here, then American Air Corps, but the Mustang's 148 and the Jet's a 172, so now we're off scale. Foreign aircraft, British to the rear, Japanese over here, civilian aircraft in the back, staying with sort of a red theme, but it's all just kind of hodgepodge. You're just doing what you can with any given shelf. There's still some unused space here, which I'm sure I'll find a use for. I'm going to have to move this diorama over towards where I'm keeping the dioramas at the moment. So now it's over here with the Knight Rider diorama, kit and car. And this was just something I did because I had been given this little hawk that, I think I got this Hurricane Hobbies, but I think he gave it to me because it didn't have a canopy or something. So I just made it the crew ejected and it landed itself, sort of like the cornfield bomber. And of course up here, these are, keeping the armor together and just developing some sort of theme. Here's like the older sci-fi sort of oriented-ish stuff. And up here, there's not a whole lot of theme to it, but this, display models are always getting moved around and partly out of space. I'm going to be emptying these shelves eventually. I just have that stuff down there temporarily. So the ongoing dilemma, my wall of shame with the three Guilos kits I turned into RCs that all cratered. But it's just, like I say, it's an ongoing battle. This shelf, of course, is all full of stuff that I need, supplies and everything. Trying to keep it organized in some sort of way. Your stash and display organization is about as important as everything else It's all part of the hobby. And oh, look at this. Meine Strucke is diving. And probably just bumped into it. So, anywho, like I say, just all kinds of ways to display your models. You're only limited by your own imagination. Everything I have here is just sort of, well, nothing in the universe is permanent. Eventually, the sun will burn its fuel and grow cold and eat our entire solar system. So, everything, I guess, is temporary. Some things are just more temporary than others, and these displays will get moved around. You know, a lot of people, it's just like stock in a store. They rotate it around to what they think they need to give attention to. Well, now I'm just rambling. You guys take care of yourselves, and as always, model on.